So yes, guys, it's amazing to find out the Garden of Eden. It's oh well. Before I say that, let me just put it this way. I studied and find out that Jesus, since his birth and most of his time, he spent his time in the Sea of Galilee with his disciples. He will go to Bethlehem, Judea, Jerusalem, then go back to Galilee, go back to the Sea of Galilee. And you find out the disciples of Jesus, most of the time they were fishing in the Sea of Galilee. And Jesus in Matthew 28, after he resurrected, he said to Mary Magdalene, he said, "Tell my brethren I have resurrected, and we will meet where we will meet in the Sea of Galilee." Why would the disciples of Jesus spend most of the time in Galilee? Why would Jesus also spend most of his ministry, most of his miracles in Galilee? Why is that? I'm gonna say something that is going to shock you. Most of the people don't expect it. Only to find out that the Garden of Eden is in Cape Town, South Africa. The Garden of Eden is in Cape Town, South Africa. Where exactly? In False Bay. He says God Himself has buried the Garden of Eden at False Bay, South Africa, Cape Town. It is the one that is spoken about in Revelation chapter 12. It says, and the woman fled into the wilderness that is been prepared by God. That wilderness, it is what? It is the Garden of Eden. It says God is buried at False Bay in Cape Town. But not only that, we find out that the Pishon River, it says that the river went out of Eden. So Eden, it's Africa. So we find a river went out of Eden and it parted into four heads. And one of that river is Pishon, and that land that flows through Havilah. So let me just share something with you. That Pishon River, it's a river that is in Africa. Okay, why you must say it's in Africa? It's a river. Pishon means a river that starts from a spring. Which river starts from the spring? Is the river called the Orange River. It starts from the Drakensberg Mountains in Lesotho, in the spring in Lesotho. That river starts from the Orange River. Then it flows all the way through South Africa, through the country of, close to the Kalahari Desert in the country of Botswana, and flows through all the way to Namibia and to the Atlantic Ocean. And let me just show you something again. So the Pishon River is a river that starts from a spring, and that's the Orange River. When you study the Orange River, it's like that. Now, Havilah, what is the meaning of Havilah? In Hebrew, Havilah means land of sand, the stretch of sands. And when you look at the Kalahari in Botswana, and when you look also in South Africa, and look also in the Namibia Desert, where there's the Fish River, all that land, it's a land that flows, that is full of sand. And the land of Havilah, is that land which is covered in South Africa, Botswana, and Namibia, which is a desert. That's the land of Havilah. And that verse in Genesis, it says that, and the gold of that land, it is good. And it says there's onyx stone and beryl. Now, if you check along the Orange River in Kimberley, that's where there was what you call the gold rush. So that gold rush is the one that is mentioned in Genesis. They say that when in the four rivers, that's the gold rush. It says in that land there is so much gold in these gemstone. And when you find out that along the Atlantic coast, right in Namibia, it says there are so much diamonds that when they also explored at the mouth, they explored in the mouth of Orange River. They found so much diamonds that it just became a restricted area. So if you check at Kimberley is along the mouth of the Vaal River and the Orange River, where there's so much gold. And now it says that God has buried the Garden of Eden at False Bay in Cape Town. So the Orange River, it fulfills all the characteristics which are mentioned in Genesis, where it says that one of the rivers is Pishon and it encompasses the whole land of Havilah. That's the Orange River. And then it says that God had put the Garden of Eden in False Bay in Cape Town. So you can see how the disciples of Jesus like to spend time at the Sea of Galilee, and you can see how when Jesus resurrected, he says, let's meet at Galilee. Why would he want to go to Galilee? Because at Galilee, the Sea of Galilee that is False Bay today, it is where the Garden of Eden is buried. It's buried under the ocean. by God. Why did God bury it? He buried it so that Adam doesn't go back and anybody doesn't go back and then eat the fruit of life. So there were three trees in there: the tree of knowledge of good and evil, the tree that was for food, and the tree of life. And that tree of life, it says that when you eat it, basically your sins will be raised and you become immortal. So God took the garden and buried it. So I was amazed to find out that False Bay is the Sea of Galilee. The Sea of Galilee is not in the Middle East. The Garden of Eden is not in the Middle East. It's in Africa. Can you see that? So everything is in Africa. Africa is Eden. Jesus, when he resurrected, he said, let's meet in Africa, in Cape Town, in South Africa. What is Table Mountain called? They are called the 12 Apostles. Yeah, read it. The Table Mountain is called 12 Apostles. So it's so amazing to find out that the Orange River is the river that is mentioned in Genesis, that watered the Garden of Eden, and to find out that when God made the Garden of Eden, he put it in Africa. Can you see that? So that's really amazing, guys. Cape Town, that's where we are going. You see, and the 12 woman with the 12 stars, he fled into the wilderness. Which one is the wilderness? That is the Garden of Eden. That's the Garden of Eden. So it's amazing, guys, to find the Garden of Eden is in Cape Town, South Africa. And all the black people, they are the children of Israel. The biblical Hebrews, they are Africans, sub-Saharan Africa, all the way starting from Mali, Timbuktu, Togo, Senegal, the Congo, DRC, Zimbabwe, South Africa. All that's where the Hebrews, the true Hebrews is. That's where the true Hebrews are from. Can you see that? And he says that there'll be a second great exodus all the way from Jamaica, America, Trinidad and Tobago. All those black people will start moving all the way during the tribulation to the wilderness, to the Garden of Eden, where they'll be protected for 3.5 years. All the black people. And including even the white people, of course, if they're born again, if they're Christians. Thanks for watching, guys. Cape Town, it's where we are going. That's where the Garden of Eden is. We'll see you. We'll see you there if you're holy. If you follow Jesus Christ and you're holy, we'll see you there. Thanks for watching.